Hi folks, I am Ruchika Tulashan. I am the author of Inclusion on Purpose, and as some of you may know, I have been hard at work promoting my new book. And recently I did a presentation and I received feedback that one of my favorite cartoons by Will McPhail had caused some discomfort, and essentially it was alienating allies who actually cared about inclusion. Now, this fantastic cartoon by Will McPhail is of a woman of color sitting across the desk from a large group of white men, essentially being asked to describe what she brings to the company. Now, one of the reasons why I really love this cartoon is because it really beautifully illustrates what a lot of women of color face, not only in the hiring process, like I did in many corporations, but also especially how we're constantly asked to reestablish our authority, what we bring to the table, and how our diversity and difference would add to the company. So I find it really, really useful to illustrate some of the real challenges. So I had a couple of thoughts about this feedback. One is the importance of using the word ally as a verb, not a noun, if you use it at all. And essentially, we need to move away from this idea that an ally is someone who you are, and more towards it's something that you do. And essentially practicing advocacy, allyship, co-conspiracy, whatever the term you use, being a success partner, like my friend Minda Hart says, but essentially focusing on action. How do you amplify women of color? How do you ensure women of color are being paid equally? How do you ensure that our thought leadership and expertise are getting due credit? But essentially, ally is not something that you are, it's what you do. So one thing that I really wanted to say since I received this feedback is that importance of using ally as a verb, not as a noun. The other thing that really resonated with me as I thought more about this feedback I'd received is obviously the defensiveness and fragility and discomfort. Look, I get it. Talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, really meaningfully talking about bias in the workplace is uncomfortable, and it's going to cause some level of defensiveness. If you're doing it right, actually, it's going to cause discomfort. And I think it's really important when you are shown images or hear stories about bias and discrimination and racism, or if your friend tells you, or your colleague or someone you work with tells you about a time that they experienced bias or racism or discrimination, it's really important to lay down your defenses. Think deeply. Why are you feeling uncomfortable in the first place? Investigate that discomfort and try and build empathy for the reality that this truly is the experience of many people of color, women of color, people with other underestimated and marginalized identities in the workplace, and then work towards making change. So I unfortunately don't agree with this feedback. I would be curious about your thoughts, especially if you have worked in this field, if you've talked about diversity and inclusion, if you've received that level of feedback and pushback. And in the meantime, I want to say a huge thank you to Will McPhail. Your cartoon is truly one of the best illustrations. And as far as I understand, you present as a white man. So I really appreciate you picking up that nuance, which is subtle and yet so much part of our lives as women of color in the workplace and in society. So thank you. And please do comment and let me know what you think. What are the ways that you have dealt with feedback like this? And maybe there's a lot that I need to learn too. So thank you.